And how was that experience? Sharing the stadium, sharing the pitch with someone like a Sunil Chhetri, right? How was that experience? Like, was it a fan moment for you? Did you get a chance to talk to him, interact with
I
him?
I tried to make small talk. Must have sent him like at least 20 Instagram DMs before I started playing professional football. Like,
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Football Unplugged with me, Satvik. Uh, in today's episode, in the part two of our episode with Hardik, we're going to talk about his personal experience in the Mumbai City FC squad and just what all it takes to be a professional footballer, the diets that one has to follow, the experiences that he's had in various stadium playing against various players in his time from, let's say, a second division to then eventually the Indian Super League. And if you haven't watched the first part of my interview with Hardik, make sure you go and watch the first part. It's an enthralling, episode of his journey from deciding to be a chef to then ultimately pursuing his dream to become a professional footballer. So if you haven't watched that, just go and watch the first episode before. And for everyone who's already watched that, just a ton of great content coming up your way. Stay tuned and feel free to share your comments for the same. Coming back to the squad, Hardik, right? The squad had some of the like stalwarts or superstars of Indian football, right? Or some of the brightest prospects, including yourself. How was that overall experience? Who in that particular squad impressed you the most? Person, like who was that one player who like, fuck man, that guy is just insane.
I mean, it's so difficult to just pick out one because they're all so brilliant. And what gets them there is their hard work and their commitment. It's not just on the pitch, but off the pitch. They're all so focused to get where they want to be. And it's so amazing to see. And it's so inspiring when you have a team who's that competitive. I think you're bound to grow as a player. Uh,
And yeah,
yeah. So I had some good relations with. It's difficult to go into a club mid-season because they've already formed a bond, and
mm,
you're a new player.
yeah,
You're not when you're in a pre-season environment. You're
mm,
judged by the coaching staff and the management. But when
mm,
you join a club mid-season, you're judged by all 50 of them, the players
correct.
and the staff. So that's like a little hard to take in, but everyone here was so sweet with me and so welcoming. I felt at home, and that was like the biggest strength for me.
So, when you talk about, just being focused off the pitch as well, I've heard a lot of, interviews with other footballers or, foreign footballers wherein, there are some people who like don't train as hard as they should probably, but are just brilliant on the field. And there are some players who will just train as hard as it is a professional match, right? So who were the hardest trainers or the most, brilliant trainers in the Mumbai City squad? Like who trained the best according to you?
Uh, it's difficult because, like I said, everyone's so competitive. If you've done 10 reps of it, I probably want to do 11, and then he
Hmm.
wants to do another one or two more to beat me. So it's just back and forth. Like you name it. It's Chante, Bipin Bhai. He's one of my favorite players. So
Hmm.
hardworking, uh, and you name it. Mehtab, Vikram, uh, Guri. Everyone was just amazing. Like you feel inspired looking at them.
And a lot of these, young guys as well, someone like a Vikram or a Guri, even Changte also, very young players like which gives a lot of motivation, as a budding footballer as well, right?
Yeah, it gives you a lot of hope, like seeing these young boys uh, achieving what they've achieved. So I had a player move in with me from Rajasthan, Nikom. He's just 19, yes, 19. And he signed a 5-year deal with me. But it's so amazing to see. He's brilliant and he's worked so hard. And there's so much more in him, which I think Mumbai City will be able to tap into. And it's good that now the youngsters of our country can look up to people who make it at that age. And for some of them who don't come from a very good financial background, they don't have to worry too much about this sport not, or this career not paying them back so much.
And
Now
I'm
they
sure,
have like a pathway.
and I'm sure after this interview, a lot of people would look up to you, the journey that you've had. Me definitely being one. But yeah, like you've mentioned, especially let's say 10 years ago, 7 8 years ago, the financial aspect of thing was a major hindrance for people, giving everything for football.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
having sort of, come from, let's say, the lowest division of Mumbai to the top tier of Indian football, how has the entire, financial bit changed, and what has ISL contributed to that?
Um for me, I think when I look at anyone who watches Indian football knows the level of quality that ISL has brought in, and it's completely changed. There were foreigners before in our league as well, and but the level of quality that ISL has brought in is completely different. Also, the level of professionalism that ISL has brought in is what is changing the game. Plus, these big footballing groups coming in and investing in the youth is what's going to change the future of our country, or the future of football in our country. And that's what's most important. They're investing in the senior teams. Yes, amazing. This is what gives us something to go for it, because we've already passed our youth. But for the youth to be in a system like that is what is important. The system here at RUFC, the system that I've seen at Mumbai City, they focus so much more on the youth. They invest so much more on the youth, which is so important, I feel. So that's what ISL, and thanks to Reliance that they've got in,
100%.
it's a big, big step.
And Hardik, so personally talking about you now, right? You started, considerably late, if I have to say that, as compared to other footballers, which also means, your desire would be to play as long as possible, right? Where
Yeah.
the fitness and the work in the gym also comes into the picture. So, and you, I think, Luke, especially, one of the fittest player in the Mumbai City FC squad. So, like, how important is fitness overall, and are you focusing extra just for the fact that you'd want to play for longer than what a normal footballer would?
Absolutely. I mean, my aim and my goal is to play for as long as I can. And I've not put a number in my mind yet, because it's difficult to put a number. Sometimes, unfortunately, injuries take that away from you. But if, God wills, and if I'm injury free, I would like to go on for as long as I can. There's no limit, and there are endless possibilities. So, one is that. But when I started football, I knew that I'm late, and I've not been, I'm not the most skilled or the most gifted footballer. The only way I get an edge over everyone else is I do more. And it's when I say I do more, I don't mean that instead of training for 6 hours or 7 hours a day, I train 12 hours or 14 hours a day. That's not always healthy.
Correct.
But what I can do more is focus on my sleep, on my nutrition, on my strength training, injury prevention, and all those things that will give me an edge. And in football or in any professional sport, an edge is all you need to go above and to do. I mean, I think an edge is what sets you apart, is what sets an average player apart from an excellent player.
And like, is it where a structured or a top tier club like ISL is completely up and ahead of a club from, let's say, an I League? Like the structure, the focus on the physical health, strength and conditioning, injury prevention. So yeah.
I would say the resources are better
Hmm.
at my ISL
Hmm.
club, but a lot
Hmm.
of I League clubs now know the importance of all of
Hmm.
these things, and most importantly, the players are now more self-aware.
Hmm.
Uh, I remember when I was playing the second division, I would spend more on myself than I would make.
Hmm.
Even in the first, maybe probably the first year of my I League, I would spend more on myself than I would make. It's awareness that you have to have, and that's what I've seen with a lot of players now. They're willing to spend that much on themselves just to give them that edge. So an ISL club, yes, they focus more on all of these things, but it's also because they are better funded
Hmm.
and they have better resources. But when it comes to strength and conditioning training and nutrition bit, I think a lot of I League clubs are doing that now. And uh, being with Rajasthan last year, and what made it very easy for me to have the transition in terms of fitness was the strength and conditioning coach and the head coach who is here at Rajasthan. My preseason, my in-season training was good, and that's why I was able to have that transition and a season injury free. It was because of them.
And talking now that you're talking about Rajasthan as well, right? So when we think of football in the country, right? So Rajasthan might not be the first name that comes to mind, right? But tell me more about the culture of football in Rajasthan overall. What you've experienced over the last 2 3 years, like how are people following football there?
Well, the fan culture is yet to come in, but it's definitely growing. People like to watch. Uh, with the help of social media, the awareness here is growing a lot, and uh, I would say the club is doing its bit to spread awareness. They have one of the best social media pages in I
Correct.
think
Correct.
amongst the all I League teams, and the awareness is definitely growing. Uh, so it's good, but it's still yet to come. What I experienced, what you experience in the ISL or in an I League club that's based out of Kolkata or you would say Kerala. You can't compare it to that because it's fairly new here. It's just our third year, I believe, in the I League. So it's coming slowly but definitely. Yeah. And
So
and like
yeah.
you said that when you like think of football, you don't immediately think of Rajasthan. Not yet, but the way this club is progressing, uh, I'm definitely sure that in the coming years, people will think of Rajasthan when you talk about Indian football.
Who do you think have the best fan base with your experience with Mumbai City? Like which club or which stadium has the best atmosphere
Um, uh, in ISL or in IB?
in ISL?
In ISL, it's if I want to say the best fans, I would say don't go behind the numbers that come to follow.
Hmm.
Yes, you want numbers definitely, but
Hmm.
in my experience, the Mumbai fans were outstanding.
The
They were
the loyalty to the club speaks.
I mean, I mean, they made me feel at home. They made me feel like I'm one of them, and that's what's when I came in. It's not like I went into the 11 right
Hmm.
away,
Yeah.
but their support does not waver. Even when I ended my loan spell and I came back, the wishes that I got were so overwhelming that that's the reason I'm saying they're the best fan in the country.
Yeah,
And
I saw the post that Mumbai City FC put up for you, and the comments on that, and just the love that people had for you. It was just so good to see.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm so grateful for the fans, the West Coast Brigade, and all the
Hmm.
people that showed all the love and support. So for me, they're the best fans. And uh, when you talk about great atmosphere, I've experienced a good atmosphere in Goa as well. But
Hmm.
in my small stint in ISL, the best atmosphere that I've experienced was the Bangalore semi.
Nice.
They came
Even
out
I,
in numbers, and
yeah, and I
and
think
when you have a legend playing for you, you definitely should come out in numbers.
And how is that experience? Sharing the stadium, sharing the pitch with someone like a Sunil Chhetri, right? How was that experience? Like, was it a fan moment for you? Did you get a chance to talk to him, interact with
I
him?
I tried to make small talk. I did get a chance to. I made a small. I tried to make a small talk, but the feeling that you have when you see him from the bench, you're included. Your name is being taken alongside him. When the squad is announced in the stadium, it is what a moment. That's the dream that That's something I've dreamed of when I started watching him. I must have sent him like at least 20 Instagram DMs before I started playing professional football. Like before I started playing ISL, I must have messaged him like 20 times, congratulating him or saying something. As a kid, I would always message him and and then sharing the pitch with him. It's so surreal and it's something that I'll always share. Yeah, and my dream is sharing the dressing room with him when I play for the national team.
And I'm so happy, that you're so clear. So is like, what's next for Hardik? Hardik, like, you've come back to Rajasthan. Like, what's the plan? Just both with club football and with the desire to play for the national team as well. What's next for you?
Well, next is me. Immediate next is me focusing on the next step. That is the Durand Cup. That as of this moment, I'm representing Rajasthan United in the Durand Cup. So my focus is completely on that and improving myself as a footballer. Uh, I'm just going to put my head down and keep working. I always believe in seeing things or taking things or doing things one step at a time. So I'm not going to jump ahead of myself saying, "Oh, I want to play for this team in the ISL or something." But I have my goals set. I have my goals clear in my head, which is in the coming season. I want to be in the national camp. That's my goal. That's my aim, and I want to work towards it.
And all the very best for that.
Thank you so much. Thank
Just in terms of the logistical side of things, right? When you're with the team, how was the entire, is the stay as a player covered? Like, do you guys stay in hotels? Does the club arrange all of that for you? Even, the entire travels. How does that look both in an I League level and both at and at the ISL level as well?
Well, you should ask me on the I League second division as well because
Yes,
I've
definitely. So yeah,
experienced
yeah,
some
all the
of that
levels. So
as well.
and I think not just, I think it's very important for everyone to understand as well, right? To the realities of different tiers of Indian football, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.